Camera action. Hello, I'm Oran Z, and welcome to the Pan-African Black Wax and Wax Museum. Actually, it's called the Oran Z Pan-African Black Wax and Wax Museum because we have to start naming institutions about ourselves, for ourselves. Behind me is where I like to start out the tour in Egypt. Now, one of the things that I don't like is the word Black or African American History Month. African American History Month is not a good thing because that will put us in slavery, start us out in slavery in America. I'd like to start us out where we started out as kings and queens in Africa, in Egypt. We were the original kings and queens. And here we have some different artifacts. We got Ptah. We've got the Black King Tut as he came out of the tomb. As you see, this is a copy of the sarcophagus or the crypt that they had King Tut in. And there is a statue at the end where you see the Black King Tut. There were two of those in his tomb. They never hardly show those when it comes to the Egyptian exhibits that travel around the world. They want to make you think that King Tut was anything but black. But he was an African because Egypt is in Africa. There's no such thing as the Middle East, because if there was, there would be a Middle West, a Middle North, and a Middle South, equally talked about. So in here, I'm going to point out a few highlights, and you can pick out a few lowlights, and we'll keep rolling. On the top here, we see some what I call zebra masks. Those zebra masks came from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is right on the coast right next to Zambia. Actually, those came from Zambia, and that is still right next to Zimbabwe. Here's some things from Kenya, Nairobi. There are some masks, some shields, some different things from Kenya. This piece right here is from Malawi. This is a Kenyan marriage piece. This is made of zebra hair and red heart beads. Over here we have a depiction of a Tuskegee Airman, and that's Richard Pryor dressed up in a Tuskegee Airman outfit. And on the side, there are all the badges that the Tuskegee Airmen may have worn. And as you notice that the badges looks more like military than Air Force, although the first one has wings on them. That's because the Tuskegee Air was actually an ROTC camp club-like thing in the school in Tuskegee University. And it was under the auspices of the Army, not the Air Force. But they still called them Tuskegee Airmen because they were flying. Here we see a case with a space shuttle. And we see the moon rover. The moon rover was a black invention, and so was the arm that comes out of the space shuttle. Next, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is the governor. So we've got him on trial there with the Honorable Judge Thurgood Marshall, who was the first black Supreme Court justice. And in the back, from there, we have Marcus Garvey, and also working as a plaintiff or a lawyer. And behind them is Frederick Douglass, who was a great black emancipator, who had the first house in Anacostia that was owned by a black person. And they made it into a movie. Now it's not a movie, but a museum. And now that museum is owned by the Smithsonian. Is in everything. Over this way, we have in this case right there, we've got some slave bracelets. And you see all those rings down there and all those bracelets. Those are all slave bracelets. They would trade people for those bracelets. There was almost like a weight. And then you see I've got some different little figurines.
What? Say that again.
Okay, they would trade people for those. Those were slave bracelets. So basically, those would be worth a person. And it was just like money. And then on the top, when you see slave chains, and how I've got depicted these different little figurines. how life was free and easy in Africa, and then until they chained us up and put us into that was my little interpretation of that. Over here we've got some inventions, some black inventions. Granville T. Woods, and he lived from 1856 to 1910. And my second favorite is Mr. Carter, George Washington Carver, and he lived from 1860 to 1943.
Now, while we're on inventions, Oran, let's take a minute to hear about some of your inventions.
Well, I invented the Wonder Weave and the Profusion and the French Fusion bonding and hair products. I am a fourth generation hairstylist, and you'll see, I think I got a couple of my bottles of stuff in the other room. Okay, anyway, coming in this way, here we see there's some postcards with some black people on them and black things. There's Jesse, there's a bunch of buttons, a lot of those Jesse Jackson. Okay, on the other side, we've got, first we've got Eddie Murphy coming to America, from America. And then behind him, we've got Malcolm X. And then behind Malcolm X, next to Malcolm X, we have Dorothy Dandridge. Next to Dorothy Dandridge, we've got Sidney Poitier. In front of Dorothy Dandridge, we've got the Chevalier de St. George's, the black Mozart.
Tell us a little more.
He's the guy who Mozart copied. In fact, one of the songs that the black Mozart made, Mozart didn't even bother to change the notes. He just changed an octave and went on and published some of his music. The Palace of Versailles was built for this brother to do music in, but there were 5 white women who couldn't take the fact that a black man was going to conduct them, 5 divas, and they decided not to sing for him. So basically, next we got Michael Jackson, and behind that we've got one of the, so you see his fingers all jacked up. If you remember the movie Thriller, when Michael turned into the monster.
Say that one more time.
So this is a hair curling machine that roll your hair up on some paper, twist it up on some paper, then put the saturated with some lotion, and then clamp these little rods on there and then plug you in. Give you a little shot. Wow. Couldn't be any worse than some of the stuff you see today. Scott Joplin, when I first heard that music from, anybody see that movie, The Sting? That the soundtrack from The Sting, that was the music from Scott Joplin. He wrote all that music. And so that one that you heard, that's called The Entertainer. Right, and that's the guy who invented not only that song, but rag. He was a ragtime inventor. Next to him, we've got Billie Holiday and Little Richard.
What about that busk up there? Who's
that bus? That's Beethoven. A lot of folks don't realize it, but Beethoven was black. And that's why his music was so dynamic. A lot of times you hear like Brahms, we go da 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 da, but Beethoven was ba da da da. You know, that boy was full of energy. He wasn't like, he wasn't duplicated until Richard Daughtry did the Who version of Tommy. You know, it was pretty well subdued. And so that's pretty much this room. What do you think, Oni?
Great. I'm just waiting for my turn. That's all.
All right, well, go. Okay. Here we got a case of stuff from Booker T. Washington. Here's a couple of letters that he signed.
That he personally signed?
Yeah, there's his signature on there, and he also signed this book down there on there. And this is a stereo opticon here. This is like the forerunners to your viewfinders. So if you look through here, you'll see Booker T in like 3D. And do you know Booker T Washington was on money? A lot of folks don't realize the fact that he was on 3 coins. And those coins should be in one of them cases. Right there.
He was on American money?
Yeah, he's on American money. He's on a $50. He was on a silver. He was on a $50. Let me see if I can get in there. This is he was on. In fact, he was on 3 different from 1941 to 1945. So here's a 50-cent piece with him and George Washington Carver on it.
A 2-headed coin?
No, that's Dr. Carver and Booker T. Washington. That's a 50-cent piece. That's American money.
Who made it?
America. That's a 50.
I like this. He said, "Who made it?"
Who made it?
The mint.
Never heard of that
Yeah.
before. Never in a zillion years.
Yeah, there's more. He was on 3 coins. He was actually on he has another 50-cent piece where he was on by himself. So here is a piece. This is a lamp. This lamp is Copper de Monte, and I've been around the world 2 or 3 times, and I've only seen 3 items that ever had black folks on a copy of the Monte Lap. I've got this one here, and there was one, as you've seen in the entrance, and the third one, I can't remember where that was at. Anyway, that's Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver. Yes, ma'am. So here we've got a paper. We've got some racist things here and some photographs. And here's like a minstrel, and you see like the minstrels, a lot of times in the day, they were actually white in black face. And then some of the black folks wasn't black enough, so they even had to put black face on our cork on their face, like you saw in that movie Bamboozled. Here's a list of slave ships. So if you see the very first one was the Jesus. So a lot of times in those old Negro spirituals, when they were praying for Jesus to come back, they were actually praying for that ship to come back and whatever. Here's this is a slave document. This was a paper that the slave had to show that they were free and not a runaway. And this is a slave necklace. This was a thing around a slave's neck, a yoke, 1857, that showed that this guy was a slave. And behind you we have the first guy. That's Leonard. No, that's
Nate Love.
Herb Jeffries playing Nate Love. Nat Love. That's actually Herb Jeffries.
From that movie?
Yeah.
You got that movie?
Yeah, I got all of his movies. Herb Jeffrey, yeah.
He got all these old cowboy movies.
And the next guy we got is a slave. I call him Toby, but on his arms, these are actually ankle bracelets that he's wearing. And here we see that. Are y'all with this tour? You see, he's like a field worker, and he's number 66, and his name was Troy. You see, so this was actually what he would wear on his knees, on his ankles. So if he tried to run away, he couldn't be running so fast.
Man.
Behind that, we have a. Thank you, Oni. You're the man. You're the man. So I'm calling this guy York, who was actually a slave that was with Lewis and Clark Exposition, but the slave could be whoever. Could be somebody you should know, Blaze. No. And next we have behind that we've got.
Looks like it's from the Fort Greene projects.
Yeah.
I think it's a cowgirl.
We've got Sojourner Truth in the rocking chair. And over her, we've got Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
And then in the back, we've got Harriet Tubman. And they're in a little thing. And Harriet Tubman is handing you the key to freedom, wondering where and when you're going to get. And so, and down there is Cotton, and there's a big cotton bag there. And Cotton was king, and Cotton.
That's a cotton bag?
Yeah, that's what picking cotton.
I wouldn't
yes.
recognize it.
Oni wants to make sure to tell you about the bird. Show him the bird, Oni.
Everyone, there's a big bird up there. It's white. It's fake. And really looks real, but it's not real. But some people think they are real.
Okay. All right, now this is the Ku Klux Klan outfit. This was actually from the Yellow Rose of Texas. And you see this is a real, he's got the dried blood. This is from the 1800s. And this was like the second guy in charge. You can see the banner with the yellow rose. So that was from the Yellow Rose of Texas. And there's Toby up there being hung. That's about as bad as it.
Without his hair.
Yeah. And then these are pictures of slave castles. That's slave auction houses. Slave markets. Slave market museum. And here's a Fort Worth paper where it's talking about a Negro is washed up on the ground. Here's our Dow Museum.
Yep.
All right, so in the museum we have over $40,000. This is part of the Dow collection. We couldn't put too many out, but I put as many as we can. Those quilts are over there. Those quilts are actually called story quilts to show that Africa was where quilts started. Those were from, I can't think of.
Story quilts. I like
Story
that.
quilts. So this is what I call derogatory minorities. They're cookie jars, they're salt shakers, lamps, pipes, signs, thermometers, ashtrays, pot holders.
Oh, look at these.
Just about anything you
Big
can think.
belly and big titties.
Get started right now. Talk now or forever.
Okay.
I didn't know if she had seen it already. So basically, that's pretty much the museum, which is this way. Now we're gonna go. I'm gonna show you a few more things.
Okay.
This, okay. Here's a bunch of masks, African masks. I need somebody to come and label them and put down the names of where they're from. I had that at one time, but you know, I need to get some
Live from the
interns.
sand, live from the sand. Bingo.
So, what you guys think? Only wants to tell y'all something.
This is my rungu. Rungus are like hitting people on the back or doing other things with the rungu. A friend of mine gave this to me. And here's some rocks in the sand and Egypt and different rocks. And this one has been wrote on. I know it means something, but somebody wrote on it. And here's some things in the desert that you see. And here's some seashells you can hear from the ocean. And all kinds of different things. And there's a lot you can hear through. And there's little ones and big ones. And there's some rocks in glass and in plastic. Some rocks are very smooth, some are hard. And this one is almost like this one, but it's much, much bigger and smaller. And here's another one, but it's growing bigger. And here's some more in the night. And I think my dad painted this. And here's one right there. And here's one that lives in the desert. And very careful with this one, because this is my dad right here. And his hair.
Oh, that is him, huh? Hiding over there.
That's a part of his head. And there's a snake. A snake right here. And in some have these, but I think all of them have it. But some don't. Like this one doesn't. This one does not. And it's not the same as the other ones. Every kind is different. Here's a picture, and here's all kinds of stuff. And there's lots and lots of good things about these. There's spaceships. There's pictures.
Where's a spaceship?
Down here. All right here, sir. All right there. And here's some black men that have been hanged.
Accidentally?
And Dad Prince cut the hair off and painted it so he keeps bleeding. And here's the people that hang the black men. He's in chains, and he's all bleeding down. And this is a woman. These guys are men. All black women died. Like that one, he got a chain around his neck. So he can't get out of it. There's no way. And here's some other different pictures. And here's stuff that's really great and pretty. If you feel it's really hard and some are not, we'll be right by this one in just a minute. And there's a rat. There's all different kinds of things in here. Oh yeah, here's some earthquakes that go up in light. And here's a water gun, just like I have one. A spaceship, a helicopter. I really like this helicopter. And that's the box where it came in. There's a something like a
Banjo.
yeah. And here's a piano. And guess what? A 7-year-old, like I am, I'm 7, I can really play this. And here are some people I know. Reading Rainbow, Michael Jackson, there's 2 of them. And there's some other cool things like in here. Football, baseball, basketball. Everything's here. And this man, we have a picture of that man. If I can just find the picture.
Zapata.
Yep.
Viva Zapata.
Yep. And, you know, okay, and come this way. Here we go. And here's Martin Luther King. He died. Somebody shot him. And what he always said, I had a dream. Here's some other things. Black boys, white boys. And here's some things that live in the water, like this. Starfish. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each one. I could go in the river. It moves some. And again, here's some rocks, and here's some rocks again, and in different sand. And this sand goes somewhere else in a different one. And that is also just like this, what I just showed you. Some rocks have a little sand, and they're in a glass or something else.
So inside those is parts of the pyramid.
Yep.
Inside those little boxes in those pyramids, some of that sand is from
Africa,
some from Egypt.
and there's
Oh, is it?
And here's a picture. I think it's a boy. Yeah, he grew up. He's a boy. He grew up as a king. Here's his chair, and these are my swords. I have 2 swords. This one. Now this one, it's really good. It's not so heavy as all the other ones. And it's kind of little missing pieces, kind of fun with the other ones. And it was my dad too. But this sword means something for real.
What?
I don't know yet. And here is what they used to have to protect themselves. And this sword's mine, and this one, the dragon snake. Now, everybody knows where this comes from. And this I like first. This was the first one I always liked, the whole wide world. And this one is kind of hard to get open, but this has a dragon and the kingdom of a dragon and the dragon snake. But sometimes it don't have that, have different things on it, like snakes, and here's a Imperium people making a dragon. And right there, I'm just about to show you. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. Here is some other things. Like that one is right here. That animal is right here. Right here. And there's another one right there that they made was a mummy. Like the movie that's coming up, The Mummy. But the movie's already gone, I think. And, oh yes, this is mine, but it's all of ours. See, there's a snake. And if you're black and you have one of those on, like those, you put it on. And when you do, I look kind of funny, don't I? When you do, you always make sure you have something that goes with it. But I don't, I'm just wearing this. And I remember when I had a cat named Kitty. She's still around. She just went outside with the raccoon. She used to be under here. I tried to get her. She used to bite me with her teeth. So I leave her alone. And here is a lizard, a poison lizard. In here is nothing, but I know somebody painted it. Here's a picture of Africa. All these are Africas. This is a sword. My favorite sword. This is like a bell. It's like a bell. I think Africa made this too. And in Africa, they didn't have these. They didn't know what the white man had. They didn't have these, so we made them.
Well, I thank you, Skid Row Photography Club, for coming here to visit us at the Black Wax and Wax Museum. And I hope you had a good time, and if you are welcome to come back. So I will.
How long you been collecting all this stuff?
I've been collecting stuff for about 2.5 weeks now. But it's been leap weeks.
Seriously.
I've been collecting, I guess, all my life, but I don't remember when I started collecting individual pieces or when I got the first piece for the museum that we have now. I guess when I got the idea to do the museum back in Omaha, Nebraska, it started with a postcard that had a little picture of a black child in a bathtub that said how ink is made. And then I had another one that had a picture of a little baby drinking out of a bottle of ink, and it said nigger milk. And so I just started collecting that kind of stuff. And then I started collecting salt and pepper shakers, cookie jars, things like that. And now I collect anything about black, for black, or against black, just to show an open view. So it's not like a twisted view that I try to show. I only collect what I find, and I just show it the way I get it, so people can make up their own mind. Not a slanted mind.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you and your family for inviting us here today, and we got to do this again.
Okay, thank you very much. You're always welcome, Blaze. God bless you. And may the rest of your life be the best of your life. Love, peace, and hair grease. O's out.
Now,
Okay, ladies and
hold on,
gentlemen.
you want to make his? Hold on. All right, hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you love the museum. All the pictures you took, it was great, and I really enjoyed it. And all the things you all want to see is all here, and I hope you come back soon again.
First light of morning when dew is on the clover, a misty-eyed woke from the slumber that is over.